Part 10. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Xiao. Chapter 95. 100 Military Merit Points. When Yang Yu got the 100 military merit points, his heart was not disturbed. He even wanted to drag the Salted Fish King by his tail and walk around the playground a few more times. When he saw the paintings that Squirtle drew on the ground, he had an inexplicable and ominous premonition. When the instructor's announcement rang by the river around the city, everything became calm. You can block the bridge hole, you are also a talent. Yang Yu could no longer lift the Salted Fish King with one hand like before. He could only carry it on his shoulders and let his head rest on the big fish head. Road. Salted Fish King's eyes moved, his mouth opened, and then his eyes squinted. Aren't we still number one? Fortunately, you are fat and can block other elves in front of the bridge, otherwise you will be waiting to be burned. Yang Yu helplessly patted the Salted Fish King's belly and put the Salted Fish King on the ground. The Salted Fish King jumped a few times with great joy. Yang Yu was in a pretty good mood. This time, the military merit points are secondary. The important thing is that Yang Yu found the instructor who deducted his points last time. By the way, that instructor's last name is Chi. Yang Yu, what are you thinking about? You are so happy. Gao Mao still wore a small agate jellyfish hat on his head. It was nice to have such a hat that could cool down in the hot summer. It's a pity that Yang Yu can't. With the Salted Fish King on his head, his neck will be broken. I'm thinking about how to hit the instructor. What, you are still thinking about how to beat the instructor? Hasn't the instructor already beaten you? Gao Mao was stunned. I'm thinking about how to challenge one another. The little top hat on Gao Mao's head turned and looked at Yang Yu in disbelief. Singled out? How can this be a one-on-one challenge? He could barely defeat 4 of them, let alone one-on-one. Yang Yu, are you okay? Gao Mao felt that Yang Yu was crazy about military merit. What's wrong? What's wrong with Yang Yu? Hong Kong and Wenren Fangchen returned to the dormitory together. Hearing Gao Mao's words, Hong Kong couldn't help but ask. He wants to challenge the instructor to a duel between elves. Gao Mao's voice rose slightly, and he was a little shocked. A disdainful snort came from behind. Don't overestimate your own capabilities. Wenren Yunhai, I'm not talking to you. Why are you joining in the fun? Hong Kong couldn't help but said. I said, the little elf who wants to challenge the instructor is overestimating his ability. Wenren Yunhai glanced coldly at Yang Yu and the others, especially at Wenren Fangchen. I don't think I said anything wrong. Wenren Fangchen wanted to have a fit, but Yang Yu held his hand. Seeing Yang Yu shaking his head, Wenren Fangchen responded to Wenren Yunhai with cold eyes. Kami Turtle, let's go for a walk, don't listen to the bragging here. Kami. Who does he think he is? Gao Mao made a face at Wenren Yunhai's back. Forget it, it's okay, I'm just thinking about it, but I feel a little hopeful. Yang Yu kept thinking about his understanding of the battle in his mind, as if there was something wrong. I may have thought of it. Yang Yu, are you trying to buy time? Wenren Fangchen thought for a moment, then his profound eyes suddenly flashed, and he sat down quickly. Delaying time? Gao Mao and Hong Kong were surprised. That's right, it's just delaying time. Yang Yu nodded. Before, we seemed to be thinking about how to defeat the instructor's elf and how to make the instructor's elf lose its combat effectiveness, but that was all about multi-person battles against the instructor. It seems that no one has thought about the situation in the direction of duel. In a one-on-one fight, the instructor's elf will definitely be able to brutally torture our elf, and our elf may even fall down in a single encounter. Wenren Fangchen continued. But if the instructor's elf can't knock down our elf within the stipulated time, then the result, how to calculate it? Yang Yu's voice was filled with uncontrollable excitement, and he thought of a way to earn money quickly. The method of dividing military merit. Yes, I have never thought about such a battle situation. If both elves do not fall down within the stipulated time, it will be considered a draw. Gao Mao patted his thigh heavily and said. Hong Kong also thought of something and quickly added, have you ever seen the Elf League competition? There is an extremely accurate physical value measuring device for battles in the competition. It is high-tech. I don't know if there is such a thing in 1v1 in the military camp. Equipment. In any case, it is hard to imagine that the battle time can be delayed by the instructor elf. When Ren Fang Chen continued, if it were my Squirtle, it might not be able to last for 30 seconds. Well, if I ran away from the beginning, I think my little top hat is okay. Gao Mao said weakly. Then I can't do it anymore. Hong Kong sighed, only waiting for his Mohaima to evolve. Would he have any chance? I think I can give it a try. Instructor in an elf battle duel, what are the rules? Yang Yu, you don't want your Carp King to challenge my elf, do you? Instructor Rainbow Snake looked at Yang Yu in surprise in the instructor's room. Ha ha ha, why are you thinking about this? Does the instructor's elf have to lose its fighting ability to win a duel? Yang Yu couldn't help but ask. No, what I mean is that if it were to be a one-on-one duel, it would be impossible for freshmen like you, even the girl with the fire dinosaur, or the elves that have evolved once, such as Ivysaur and Cammy Turtle. Those who win will eventually lose no matter how long they last. How long? Okay, there's no need to think about challenging the instructors of the ordinary company. You are in the snake camp now. If you want to challenge, you have to choose from the instructors of our snake camp. By the way, let me tell you something. In addition to the ABO monster, I also have a Dujula, you have to think about it. Instructor Rainbow Snake looked at Yang Yu's face with a rather interesting expression as he watched the smile disappear little by little, and even gradually began to somewhat twisted. What Yang Yu was thinking about was whether he could use the Salty Fish King's super resistance to beatings trained by the White Sea Lion's Iobai, and rely on the self-recovery ability of the hidden characteristic regeneration to do something. Obviously, Yang Yu's plan won't work. What, you want to earn more military points? Isn't this obvious? If you didn't want to earn military points, would you come here? I originally wanted to talk about this matter tomorrow. I can give you some news. The competition ends today and starting tomorrow, your elves will receive some special training. Let's see how long your elves can last. The longer you stay, the more military merit you get. Instructor Rainbow Snake looked at the smile that gradually brightened on Yang Yu's face, smiled and shook his head. Thank you, Instructor. Yang Yu's originally depressed mood became excited again. This was undoubtedly a time of great difficulty, and there was no way out, but there was a bright future after another. Seeing Yang Yu almost jumping out of the door, the Rainbow Snake instructor shrugged. Divide slaves. Ding, thank you all trainers for your recommendation votes. I ask for votes every day. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 96. The next day. The four of them, Yang Yu, finally saw the venue where the instructor said the special training program was located. It was more of an arena than a training ground. Wow! Omega! This is too advanced. What kind of building is this? It's the first time I've seen such an incredible training ground. All the freshmen in the Lish camp were amazed. Even when Renai Unhai, Murong Wentao, and Wang Qian were extremely shocked when they saw this training ground. Sports. Competition. Xiaoyu, who owned a mini dragon elf, slowly said 3 words. Little guys, you are really blessed. Instructor Rainbow Snake stood by the railing and waved to several instructors who were checking the equipment in the training ground. This is the Nanshan Arena that was just completed in February this year. Last year when you seniors and seniors came here for military training, it was still a piece of mud here. What appeared in front of Yang Yu's eyes was a sunken arena. This was the first time they had come here until today. The arena was distributed in a circle, with a huge elf ball-shaped floor in the middle, and the same shape as in the previous life. The playing fields in the Pokemon anime are very similar. Old Huang, please open this half of the ground, we are ready to train. Boom 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 boom. There was a sound of gears turning on the ground. In Yang Yu's incredible expression, the field on the left was no longer a piece of ground, but a clear pool of water. Under the sun, the water in the pool sparkled, and at the same time, several circular platforms rose from the water, which were prepared for elves and trainers to stay. What are you waiting for? You haven't summoned the elf yet. Instructor Rainbow Snake clapped his hands, smiling happily. Little Top Hat, let's go. Come on, Mini Dragon. No matter who it is, seeing such a magnificent arena, they will feel infinite excitement in their hearts. It is like the arena where top trainers battle that can only be seen on TV, appearing in front of them at this moment. With the passion and excitement of a junior trainer, there was no queue, and they all ran downwards. The agate jellyfish directly stepped on the descending railing with two straps, just like an acrobat stepping on a tightrope, oh no, just like stepping on a steel pipe. It ran, jumped, turned around and jumped quickly on the railing. It was extremely graceful on the railing, and finally took a leap of faith. He spun 2.5 times in the air, his posture was so graceful, and he fell into the water with a tiny splash. Swish swish swish. There was applause. The difficulty coefficient is 3.2. Except for one with the highest score of 9.5 and the lowest score of 8.5, the remaining three scores are 9.0, 9.0, and 9.0. The overall score is 86.4. Next contestant, Mini Dragon. The Mini Dragon player wrapped its slender body around the railing and rotated downwards. The water snake-like waist was dreamlike and extremely gentle. At the same time, some rotating water droplets were scattered, reflecting the rainbow in the fairy tale under the sunlight above their heads. The last movement on the pole, wrapping around the dragon's tail, uses strong flexibility and bounce to create another graceful jumping posture, perfectly entering the water with smaller splashes. The difficulty coefficient is 3.4. Except for one with the highest score of 10.0 and the lowest score of 9.0, the remaining three scores are 9.5, 9.5, and 10.0. The overall score is 98.6. Bang 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 bang. The applause continues to thunder. Squirtle, Cammy Turtle, got rid of the railings and performed cool moves on the stairs. The score is also not low. Come out, Salted Fish King. Ka. Yang Yu was also excited, but his heart skipped a beat inexplicably, feeling like he had done something wrong. The Salted Fish King was ready to fall straight to the ground, as he had done every time he was summoned before. But what he didn't expect was that this place was a sinking arena, which meant Salted Fish King, oh you my god. Ka. 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 Click, click, click. The Salted Fish King jumped down the stairs with great elasticity, step by step, even faster and faster. Yang Yu looked at the way the Salted Fish King went down, and suddenly felt that he should go to the bottom and summon the Salted Fish King out again, so that he wouldn't make the same mistake next time. Plop! There was a huge splash in the pool. Difficulty coefficient, ahem, 1.0. Can the rating be 0.0? What, can't? Okay, let's give it a 0.5. The overall score is 1.5, laughter is encouraging. The Salted Fish King rolled over on the water for a while, exposed his head, and spat bubbles angrily to express his strong condemnation of his master. Bang 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 bang. The land elves jumped to the ground one by one, and were able to land their bodies gracefully and balancedly. At the same time, directly in front and above, a row of instructors elves walked down the stairs step by step in an orderly manner. The leader is none other than the Swampert. Behind the giant swamp monster are the Swamp King, Blue Crocodile, and some powerful monsters carrying sandbags. Of course, the grass-type elves will not be left behind. Under the eyes of freshmen like Yang Yu, the arena that was originally without any obstacles turned into an obstacle course with many sandbags, as well as many tires and other props. The grass-type elves stood behind the obstacles and props, as if they were looking at the freshmen menacingly, ready to avenge the enemies they encountered before. "Instructor, what are you doing?" The Rainbow Snake instructor's face was filled with a bright smile. "Let's play a game first. It's a tower defense and siege type game. It's sea, land, and air. There are no restrictions on 3 routes. Do you see the targets behind the elves on the opposite side? There are only 3 targets. If your elf touches the bullseye of those 3 targets, that person will get 300 military merit points, and there is no limit to the number of times." "What? 300 military merit points? Isn't this easy? Isn't the flying elf cheating? This is not fair, instructor. You can encounter the flying elf as soon as you fly over." "Do you really think so?" Instructor Rainbow Snake still had a "you're too young" smile on his face. "You guys try it, take a break every 15 minutes, I'm optimistic about you." The Rainbow Snake instructor gently took out an elf ball from his pocket, and then threw it out. "Dujule, keep an eye on these targets for me. If an elf comes close, just knock it out." At this time, an elf with 3 bird heads shouted excitedly. "Guaranteed to complete the task." Instructor, how could you do this? Why is there still Dujule watching? After passing so many levels, and Dujule, how can this be accomplished?" "It's easy, just watch me spit out fire," Wang Qian said disdainfully. The fire dinosaur opened its mouth in cooperation, and the sparks in its mouth flashed. "Haha, let me add that during this period, your elves are not allowed to use any moves other than impact moves to attack the defending elves. And they are not allowed to destroy obstacles." Rainbow Snake instructor's smile was still bright. Yang Yu's mind was filled with an idea. "Once, 300 military points. Look, let's show off your recommendation." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 97. Piggy Ding Ding, you are not allowed to sing this time. Looking at the fortress stacked with sandbags in front of them, the elves were eager to try with the encouragement of the new trainers. Jigglypuff picked up the microphone again and wanted to make an opening, but unfortunately he was immediately stopped by Lin Qian. "Well. Unhappy?" Jigglypuff put away the microphone and walked in the direction of Yang Yu with his big head lowered, his face full of displeasure, and he reached out and pulled Yang Yu's trouser leg. Yang Yu saw this little guy and squatted down curiously and asked, "What's wrong, Jigglypuff?" Fatty pouted, holding the microphone in his hand, then pointed in the direction of the owner, and finally lowered his head pitifully and put it away. "Bah, bah, bah. You can't sing here. Be happy. Have you seen the target opposite? Slap it." With a series of slaps, Yang Yu pointed to the 3 targets opposite with a smile. In front of the targets, there are many levels. Jigglypuff nodded, and walked back to Lin Qian under Lin Qian's grateful gaze. "Hey, I'm so envious, when will other people's elves be able to rely on me like this?" Hong Kong felt so sad. "What are you thinking about in your head?" Yang Yu shook his head slightly and looked at the obstacle field in front of him. At this time, some elves had already rushed forward. The first one to bear the brunt is Wang Qian's fire dinosaur. "Only obstacles can't stop you, fire dinosaur, charge, charge, charge." Just as it approached the first obstacle, a taut vine whip suddenly appeared under the fire dinosaur's feet. Snapped. Anyone who hears the heavy falling sound will feel a pain in their heart. Hum. The sudden appearance of the vine whip on the ground almost caused losses to all the elves on the front line. If they hadn't suffered a loss, who would have realized that there were traps under their feet? Fire dinosaur, stand up. The fire dinosaur shook his head, and after regaining consciousness a little, he looked at the stumbling vine whip harshly, propped himself up, and prepared to stand up. At this station, the vine whip under my feet was loosened, and the tire hanging directly in front of me hit hard as if a mechanism had been triggered. The fire dinosaur couldn't dodge and was blasted out of the obstacle course while holding the tire. There was an uproar. At the same time, the smaller elves were secretly happy after dodging the tires above them. As soon as they jumped to the top of the trench, a sandbag was suddenly thrown over them. "Haha, hit," the rainbow snake instructor's voice came from the obstacle course. The elf who was hit by the sandbag, "Start again." In less than 40 seconds, the first batch of elves who rushed out were all wiped out. "I'll try the one on the water first." Gao Mao saw the poor performance of the elf on land, and he didn't feel confident at all. However, the little top hat can run fast and can definitely avoid some obstacles. "Little top hat, let's go." This is a clear pool of water, and Onyx Jellyfish is extremely excited. He feels like he has arrived at Summoner's Rift. Although he doesn't have to play computer games, this is still a game. Go, go, go. The little top hat directly increased his horsepower to the maximum and rushed towards the target behind the swampert. Puff. Suddenly, two water guns attacked in the direction of Little Top Hat at the same time. Blue Crocodile and Swamp King appeared at the same time. The agate jellyfish's eyes twitched. Damn, two people jumped out of the grass in the river. The Little Top Hat rushed out quickly and came back quickly. He was directly hit back by a cannon, and 7 or 8 water floats were hit on the water. Squirtle, let's try it. Wen Ren Fang Chen will never let go of such training. This is an excellent opportunity to train the elf's reaction ability, speed, and resistance to hits. Jenny. Squirtle is not very fast in the water. It is testing the specific attack range, that is, where the safe area is. When Squirtle floated somewhere, a water gun suddenly attacked. Squirtle immediately buried his head and prepared to sneak over, that is, to the depths of the pool, so that most of the water-based moves would lose their power. Unfortunately, when Squirtle dived to the bottom, a huge thrust suddenly appeared under the pool. Wow! A huge spiral water column appeared in the pool, directly knocking Squirtle out of the water. Jenny. Squirtle felt like he was about to cry. Without any precaution, he was blasted into the sky by a cannon. What kind of move is this? I thought Squirtle was going to make it. The voice of the rainbow snake instructor came leisurely. Don't sneak for too long, and don't trigger the mechanism under the pool. This shot will be uncomfortable. Ignorance, you can think of this bug, but the instructor can't think of it. Cammy Turtle, go from the land side, pass the first level and enter the water from the second level, Wenren Yunhai said disdainfully, narrowing his eyes slightly. He seems to have found some tricks. With the lessons learned from the past, you only need to pay attention to 2 points in the first level on land. Pay attention to your feet and pay attention to your head. However, some elves still have poor coordination skills and will still be knocked out by subsequent sandbags. The Cammy Turtle came to the barrier on the land and easily avoided the attacks of rattan whips and tires. It turned over and escaped the attack of sandbags. It came to a place where sandbags were piled up. Without saying a word, it headed towards the pool. Jump down. Is there still such an operation? It's amazing, both water and land are blooming. The level that relies on land is switched to a pool, 6666. How did you come up with this? Instructor Rainbow Snake was also a little surprised for a while in the obstacle course, but only for a moment. The idea is good, but it's a pity. But Swampert sees through everything. When Cammy Turtle jumped into the water, he was already close to the defense line of the Swamp King and the Blue Crocodile. If he entered the water from this side, he would only be attacked by the Blue Crocodile. Close, close. Cammy Turtle passed through the defense lines of Blue Crocodile and Swamp King. Cammy. Puff. Suddenly, a cannon struck, directly hitting the turtle's shell. The huge impact directly knocked the turtle away, causing the turtle to lose all previous efforts and return directly to the starting point. Move, water cannon. The Swampert retreated and even belched. He glanced disdainfully at the place where he said goodbye to Cammy Turtle. Where are you showing off your Nima? Wenren Yunhai's face was ashen. Why is this giant swamp monster so ignorant? Yang Yu, let's go up, one on each side, me from the left, you from the right. Hong Kong took a deep breath. For some reason, he had a premonition, which was a bit strange. Yang Yu nodded. This game doesn't seem to be about showing off. There is a big gap in the strength of the elves, and the giant swamp monster can see through everything at the same time. Any show-off operation is completely useless in the face of absolute strength. I can only carry it, but this is what the Salted Fish King is best at. Yang Yu nodded. Xiao Mo, let's go. King Salted Fish, I'll give you a chance to take a quick shower, let's go. However, the author wants to start asking for votes again. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 98. The Salted Fish King jumped up. Finally there is a game to play again. Since the last time I went to the Elf League to play with the obstacles and stuff, it was so much fun, but it was a pity that I had too little time to play. Now. Originally, the Salted Fish King couldn't wait to get on board, but there was another elf in front of him that made him feel a little panicked. This was the elf he felt the most stressed after training under the Devil White Sea Lion's Iobai. So, watch the show first, watch the show first. After the Salty Fish King saw the Cammy Turtle being knocked away by the giant swamp monster, he felt that his choice was particularly wise, and he even wanted to give himself a wave of 666. That devil's training is not for nothing. The Salted Fish King dove into the water and rushed towards the defense line jointly defended by the Blue Crocodile and the Swamp King. Mohaima curled up his tail and swam forward quickly. For the elf, if you accept the master's order, just do it. Puff. Puff. Almost at the same time, Blue Crocodile and Swamp King's water guns attacked. The columnar water guns had a powerful impact effect. When they hit the elves, there would be a repelling force to prevent them from sneaking. In an instant, Salted Fish King and Mohaima felt the power of the uncontrollable turbulent water around them. These powers wanted to repel them. This seemed to be a warning from Blue Crocodile and Swamp King. This is our place. The Salted Fish King swung his tail. The power of the water gun could not have much impact on him, but he was only concerned about the direction of Mohaima. After all, Mohaima was his good partner. Salted Fish King, can you still hold on? Mohaima closed his eyes, let his head withstand the pressure of the water gun, and just bit out one word, yes. Salted Fish King, come behind me. The Salted Fish King had good intentions. Because of his large size and heavy weight, he had adapted to the attack of the water gun. Behind him, there was a good area that was not affected by the water gun. Mohaima didn't reply. The impact of the water gun hits the thorns on Mohaima's body, rubs the horns on his forehead, and cuts across the cylindrical mouth. The elf will have an instinct from the body, to make itself stronger. Xiao Mo, hold on, Hong Kong clenched his fists tremblingly. He knew that his Mohaima lacked such stressful training. Even junior trainers knew more or less from textbooks or the internet. The conditions and training for elf evolution are essential. This is stress resistance training. Whether you can pass through the checkpoint and the defense line is secondary. The freshmen who can enter the Sharp Snake camp all have some skills. After experiencing the defeat of the previous elves, what I see now is that maybe this is the real purpose of training. Squirtle. Cammy Turtle. Mini Dragon. Little Top Hat. Get on top. No one will let go of such professional training. Even if they don't pursue the 300 military merit points, such training is very meaningful. Here, there is no need to worry about the elf getting hurt. Because there are excellent military doctors in the military camp, the Geely egg nurse is always ready. How could the little elf be so bruised on his way to growth? Almost all the new trainers understood this, and all the elves in the audience stood up for it. The rainbow snake instructor who was throwing sandbags in the obstacle smiled and nodded appreciatively. Remember to line up. The little elf who was hit by my sandbag should go to the back and line up. Want to pass the roadblocks and fortress attacks carefully laid by the instructor? Let's resist these intensive attacks first. Of course, while resisting attacks, don't forget to avoid sandbags. Chug tug tug, tug tug tug. Although Gatling doesn't have the blue light, he still has a seed machine gun, a vine whip, a flying leaf knife, and sandbags. That's enough. Being hit by a move is not scary. What is scary is the heart that flinches when the move attacks and faces the upcoming challenge. The actions of the water elf finally made the Swampert become serious. Water Cannon is an extremely powerful water-based move, almost twice as powerful as the water gun move. In its own territory, the giant swamp monster spit out such a move, rolling up a huge water column and sweeping in the direction of these water elves. Run quickly. Hurry, don't stand here and watch, go to the side. Mohaima, hold on. The remaining power of the water cannon moves can affect the spectators, not to mention the water elves who are on the front line of the water cannon to resist its pressure. Jenny. Kami. For a time, some elves with poor resistance were unable to control their balance and could only be sent to the edge of the pool with the vast water, and some even came outside the pool. These elves all felt tired. Such resistance was too difficult. At this time, the only remaining elves in the pool were Salted Fish King, Mohaima, Mini Dragon, Cammy Turtle, Squirtle, and... Hey, what's behind the Salted Fish King's tail? An agate jellyfish with a blue head and crooked glasses. The little top hat was trembling extremely at this time. Two straps directly tied the Salted Fish King's tail. The huge pressure of the water cannon gave him a feeling of fainting. Scared to death, scared to death. But agate jellyfish felt that she understood the true use of binding just before she fainted from fright. Of course. Hug your thighs. Hug your thighs with all your strength. Even though he is holding his tail, as long as the tail is thick enough, it is also a thigh. Under the pressure brought by the power of the water cannon, he must stick to one center, hugging the fish tail of the Salted Fish King and never wavering. At this time, the little top hat felt that the binding move he used was the tightest and most effective binding he had ever done. If he hadn't been resisting the pressure from the water cannon move, he would have even thought of giving himself a 666. If he waits until the day when he returns home in glory and returns to the waters where he originally lived, he must teach all his brothers and sisters in the agate jellyfish group about the secret of binding. This is simply so useful. At this time, the Salted Fish King did not feel any changes in his tail. He was balancing his body. Perhaps it was the persistence of the Salted Fish King, or perhaps the pressure from the water cannon moves, but Mohaima was undergoing some incredible transformation at this time. On the back of its head, some slender barbs grew out of the originally soft and non-deterrent dots. On its forehead, the dragon attributes of the Mohaima species grew out. Two small horns. The originally round, big, soft and cute eyes have become bit by bit sharp and edgy. The changes in Mohaima are heading towards the road of evolution. However, there is still half a step to go. The waves in the pool are still there, and Cammy Turtle, Squirtle, and Mini Dragon are still balancing their bodies. The swamp monster, who put away his moves, narrowed his eyes slightly. In water. In the waterway opened by the water cannon moves. A red figure. Riding the waves in his direction. Votes, votes, votes. Rush the Duck. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Renhuo Xiangxiao. Chapter 99. How could there be any elf that wasn't repelled by his water cannon? The bog monster was stunned. Regarding the power of its own moves, Swampert knows very well how powerful the water cannon can be to stop these little elves from moving forward without causing excessive damage, that is, it can achieve the repulse effect. But he never expected it. After the aftermath of the water cannon, there was another elf. Not only was it not repelled, it even came riding on the waves through the aftermath of the water cannon. Little Top Hat, where is my little top hat? My little top hat was blown away by a cannon. In the stands, Gao Mao opened his eyes wide to see clearly the location of the agate jellyfish, but there was no trace of little top hat in the repelled elf. That Magikarp made it through. Look, what's hanging from King Magikarp's tail? Does Magikarp have a blue tail? Gao Mao, you're agate jellyfish. When Gao Mao got a little closer to the pond, he squinted his eyes and stared at the tail of the Carp King. Then he saw the very familiar glasses and hurriedly patted his chest. Oh my God, you scared me to death. I thought Swampert had killed all my elves with one shot. Gao Mao's worries were not groundless. The water guns of Blue Crocodile and Swamp King are enough to make the onyx jellyfish drink a pot, and it is easy to defeat the little top hat, not to mention the more powerful water cannons. It is already very difficult even if they don't knock him away with one shot. Alright. It turns out to be tied to the tail of the salted fish king. Kami Turtle, get on top. When Ren Yunhai saw that Carp King was heading towards the target and immediately gave the order. The Kami Turtle, which also resisted the water cannon, immediately found the opportunity and passed through the territory of Blue Crocodile and Swamp King, aiming straight for the bullseye. Squirtle, good job. Wenren Fangchen sweated in his hands. The impact of the water cannon made most elves lose their resistance, but Squirtle held on. Mini Dragon, what's wrong with you? Xiaoyu's expression changed. This was a great opportunity to move on. Why did she bother Mohaima? Mohaima looked at this mini dragon warily, and its sharp barbs gradually revealed and shone with an icy cold light. This is Dragon's Breath. The changes in that black seahorse are the rhythm of entering the evolutionary stage. The worry in Hong Kong's heart suddenly turned into ecstasy. What was he talking about before? With some premonition, he saw that Xiao Mo's body had become slightly larger due to growth, and more importantly, the horns on his forehead. This is the new dragon horn. Roar. Another water cannon. This water cannon is more powerful than before. The mini dragons and Mohaima in the confrontation wanted to react, but the powerful water column pushed them back to the edge of the pool. Squirtle and Camille are unable to withstand the rolling water. But the red figure is still there. The salted fish king's two slender beards suddenly stood up, and his slanted eyes were no longer in a daze, but showing off your talents for the first time. The salted fish king stared. Balanced in the impact of the huge water column, the salted fish king deeply felt an impulse, a call from the level of life, a slowly rising momentum. At the tail of the salted fish king, the little top hat of the onyx jellyfish only felt an exaggerated impact. If it hadn't been tied tightly, if it hadn't hugged its thigh tightly, such a stronger impact would have killed it long ago. Knocked away. The little top hat was messed up in the water cannon. It saw with the corner of its eyes that could no longer be opened. The salted fish king, instead of retreating, is still moving forward. Little Top Hat feels like his whole brain is not working properly. Why are you still moving forward? Only the Salted Fish King himself knows this answer. So, Salted Fish, thrust. A blow that contained all the strength of the Salted Fish King, with the rising momentum, and with the little top hat on its tail, the Salted Fish King was in the water cannon, forging ahead. Swampert's expression changed slightly. When he saw clearly the red figure under the water cannon move, those terrifying eyes. It was as if what he saw was not King Magikarp, but Gyarados. Intimidation. The Salted Fish King's eyes carried his own aura, emitting an intimidating effect. Anyone who understands intimidation will understand that this is the characteristic of Gyarados. But this is not Gyarados, it is still the Salted Fish King. The regenerative power provides a little bit of recovery power, even just a little bit, which is the driving force that continuously supports the Salted Fish King to move forward. Whoosh! Swampert was stunned. The Rainbow Snake instructor was stunned. Yang Yu was also stunned. Almost all the new students and all the remaining elves were stunned. Swampert made an action that no one expected. This is subconscious, or instinctive. When he saw the eyes of the Salted Fish King and the aura that enveloped his whole body, he was instinctively afraid. He took a small step back. Even if it is just a small step unconsciously, this will weaken the power of the water cannon to a certain extent. This weakening will make the progress of the Salted Fish King even more unstoppable. The Salted Fish King broke through the Swampert's defense. Swamp Monster raised his head in disbelief and looked at the Salted Fish King flying over his head. At this moment, time seems like eternity. Grumble. Dujula ran from the land side, trying to knock away the Salted Fish King who wanted to touch the bullseye. However, he realized what a stupid decision he had made. Why is this fish so heavy? Still so hard? The moment Dujula hit the Salted Fish King, he felt that he was not hitting the Salted Fish King, but an elf-like long stone. Damn it, when did the Salted Fish King become a steel elf? You cheat. The one that hit the Salted Fish King was the new head among the three heads. This head had already started to feel like stars were shining in his eyes. The other two heads looked at this pitiful new head and blinked. Sorry to bother you. Dujula's impact caused the Salted Fish King to lose a certain balance in the air. Just when he deviated from the bullseye, the little top hat stood up. As a thigh-hugging little top hat, I feel like I have reached the peak of my life. As an assistant, an excellent assistant, you have to stand up at critical moments to protect the C position and block skills. Forget about that, excuse me, but the little top hat can still stand up at critical moments. Bundle. Must be tied up. Little Top Hat seized the opportunity and stretched out a strap to tie the target. But the moment he tied it, he felt something was wrong. At this time, the Salted Fish King took the target as the center of the circle and the strap of the small top hat as the radius, spinning around the target like a big windmill. Snapped. The final word is finalized and the dust has settled. The Salted Fish King blinked his eyes with some dizziness. He glanced around himself. Me, why am I tied up? On the bullseye, the Salted Fish King's posture is like a salted fish that is about to be barbecued. Behind the Salted Fish King, a short strap stretched out tremblingly. Agate Jellyfish, is anyone there? I think, I can save it a little more. Agate Jellyfish, I think I can ask for a recommendation vote before rescuing. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Renhuo Xiangxiao. Chapter 100. No one knows how the Salted Fish King did it. But what happened before our eyes was an indisputable fact. Even Wenren Yunhai, Wang Jian, and others who had always had a sense of superiority couldn't help but admit that at least in terms of resistance to attack, their training was not as good as Yang Yu's. Magi Carp. What a weak elf, but now he has extremely powerful strength in Yang Yu's hands. No matter who you are, you will be filled with emotions. Instructor Rainbow Snake himself also felt that it was a bit mysterious. From his perspective, he could find some clues, but he still couldn't figure out why Magi Carp could make the battalion commander's ace elf, the giant swamp monster, retreat. Perhaps only Magi Carp and Swampert can explain this doubt. Salted Fish King, is anyone here? Put me down. Onyx Jellyfish, please help. Although the final gesture was not very elegant, Yang Yu and Gao Mao were still very happy after receiving 300 military merit points. Training continues. The Nanshan Arena is now the main venue for the intensive military training of the Lish camp. It is also a special arena that new students of other ordinary companies cannot enjoy. This training lasted for more than 10 days. It has to be said that the adaptability shown by the elves in training is much better than that of these freshmen. In this queue, the goose steps are still uneven. Even if they are raised with a rope, they are still the same as before. There was a ruckus. It rained for a day during the military training, which was particularly friendly to the water elves. Even during the rain, everyone was in high spirits, but it was different for the fire elves. The weather has a great influence on the strength of the elves. Something interesting even happened during the rain. A few naughty electric elves secretly shocked some water elves playing in the river around the city while their owners were not paying attention. The water elves collectively turned around. Pai Shui's incident is also ridiculous. In the second 7-day competition, Yang Yu's personal cross-country score was much higher than the first time. Xian Yuwang still ranked first in the cross-country score. After suffering the pain of blocking the bridge hole, this time he used it flexibly. The water splashed. As for the obstacle course, there are frequent accidents. Many elves are stupid and do not run away when obstacles come, and they directly crash the obstacle equipment. The Salted Fish King must be severely criticized here. Many obstacles in the water obstacle course were destroyed by this guy. Other water elves will hide when they see an obstacle coming, but this one will hit it directly and crush it like a road roller. It can be called a heavy tank in the water. This stupid Salted Fish King made Yang Yu deduct another 100 military merit points for destroying public property. The Salted Fish King even protested that these obstacles were just for trouble, but unfortunately, the protest was ineffective. 5,000 military points. Yang Yu was the first freshman in the Lish camp to receive 5,000 military merit points. Under the guidance of the Rainbow Snake instructor, Yang Yu exchanged the life potion, which was very precious to him, from the battalion commander of the Lish camp, Viper. This is the potion of life. Yang Yu held a light red glass tube in his hand, which looked a bit coquettish under the light. The life potion was not precious to Wenren Fangchen and Wenren Yunhai, but it was the first time for Gao Mao, Hong Kun, and a large number of freshmen to see it. As soon as the potential potions produced by the Elf Alliance in batches are put on the market, they will be sold out immediately, and there is rarely any inventory. The price of such a potential potion on the black market can even reach 30,000–40,000 elf coins. Salted Fish King, you need 10,000 elf coins for such a mouthful. Yang Yu patted the Salted Fish King's belly and shook the potion in his hand in front of its eyes. The Salted Fish King felt very innocent. It's not like he wants to eat it himself, but Yang Yu wants to feed it to him. Since the master is so generous, he can't dislike it, right? The moment the glass cover of the life potion was opened, a faint breath floated to the tip of Salty Fish King's nose. Ka! The Salted Fish King swallowed. The light red bottle in front of him exuded such a fishy smell. Is such a small bottle too little? The Salted Fish King rubbed his beard expectantly, and then drank it in one gulp. What kind of taste is this? The salted fish king closed his eyes. It felt sour and a little irritating, as if stimulating the vitality all over his body. This made his vitality, which had gradually become flat, boil again. In an instant, the salted fish king felt that his stomach immediately became empty, and the feeling that had appeared before came back again. Kalu kalu kalu. One of the salted fish king's beards poked Yang Yu's knees, and one of his beards pointed at his mouth, his eyes full of expectation. Hungry. Hungry hungry hungry. Yang Yu's face was a little stiff, his arms were a little stiff, and his whole body began to stiffen. Isn't it said that potential potion is a step-by-step potion? Didn't it mean that the effect of the potion was slowly acting on the elf? Why is it so effective on Salted Fish King? He looked at his military merit card. The balance of military merit points in the card was only in single digits. Yang Yu touched his pocket and pulled out a small iron box. Under the eyes of Salted Fish King with great expectation, Yang Yu opened the small iron box. The Salted Fish King blinked, and there was only one energy cube left in the small iron box. Whoosh! The Salted Fish King's beard directly put this piece into his mouth with lightning speed. Then he continued, rubbing his beard expectantly. One piece is not enough, do you have more, do you have more, do you have more? How could there be more? Yang Yule prepared a total of 20 ordinary energy cubes before the military training. Feeding 1 cube a day was full of heartache, let alone feeding a few more cubes as a reward during the 7-day competition. The Salted Fish King burst into tears. No, 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 I want to eat small pieces. Just eat it. Just eat it. The Salted Fish King is like a child who has no candy, rolling around on the ground and acting like a spoiled brat. Yang Yu looked dizzy for a while. Wen Ren Fang Chen. Hong Kong. Gao Mao. Do you still have energy cubes? Yang Yu, I cried. I no longer have any energy cubes to feed the Salted Fish King. Upon hearing Yang Yu's needs, Wenren Fang Chen, Gao Mao and Hong Kong immediately provided a lot of support. Whether it is good quality energy cubes or ordinary quality energy cubes, no matter how many there are, I want them all. The Salted Fish King stopped rolling on the ground and acting coquettishly, because in front of his eyes, energy cubes piled up like popcorn appeared. Call. 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 Kalu kalu kalu. The Salted Fish King directly manipulated his beard and almost held these energy cubes into his mouth. Gao Mao was dumbfounded, and the little top hat on his head was also dumbfounded. Hong Kong and his Mohaima were speechless at all. Squirtle even swallowed. Energy cubes, are they really that delicious? Yang Yu, your Carp King is so big, it really makes sense. Wenren Fang Chen took a breath. He had seen the powerful elves in his parents' generation, and none of them dared to eat energy cubes like this. The Salted Fish King even felt a little nervous when he saw so many people watching him eat. A small piece of energy cube was shared by him. Well, do you want to eat it? Seeing that no one responded, the Salted Fish King continued to blink. Then I'll eat it myself. Ouch. Thanks to Jin Sheng, Shi Yao, Mua Tyrant, and San Dao Julu for supporting fish farming with 100 coins each. Yang Yu, I no longer have the money to protect the Salted Fish King. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Shao. Chapter 101. The effect of potential potions has always been subtle, just like the growth joy or calcium tablets taken when children were young, they subtly improve children's physical fitness as they grow older. As time goes by, this is reflected bit by bit. Come out. But for Salted Fish King, this life potion is a tonic that takes effect immediately. It is supposed to be a life potion that promotes growth bit by bit. In front of the vitality activated by the hidden characteristic of regeneration, it is like dry wood meeting a fierce fire. It ignited in an instant. There is no doubt that the hunger in the Salted Fish King's belly has struck again, even hungrier than the last time. Snap. I don't know how long it took. A wash basin fell to the ground at the door and made a crisp sound. Only then did Yang Yu and the four of them come back to their senses. When Gao Mao and little Gao Hao turned their heads, their eyes looked as if they had been head lowered, and they were dumbfounded. The salted fish king is getting bigger again. Yes, this is how such changes happened in the dormitory. After taking a sip of the life potion and adding an unknown number of energy cubes, the size of the salted fish king began to expand again, and it began to expand very clearly to the naked eye. At the same time that salted fish king began to expand, Yang Yu's wallet also began to shrink sharply. It was even possible, oh no, it must have reached a state of negative equity. What's even more painful is that Yang Yu's college tuition fees have already gone into the salted fish king's belly. Fortunately, the tuition fees are not deducted during the semester. My darling, this fish is not just an ordinary person. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, the size of the salted fish king would have really expanded like a bubble, even. Ka 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 ka. The salted fish king struggled on the ground. My head is stuck. It was stuck under the bed plank of the lower bunk. Give me a hand and help lift the bed. Yang Yu helped his forehead. He no longer knew how to describe this fish. How many centimeters is this longer? The salted fish king was freed from under the bed. There were even pieces of energy cubes in the corner of his mouth. He moved his body. After finding that he was fine, his beard continued to poke Yang Yu's trouser legs. Yang Yu's helpless expression instantly turned into fear. No more, no more. Yang Yu quickly shook his head. The salted fish king blinked and looked in the direction of Gao Mao. Gao Mao touched the pocket of his trouser leg and turned the iron box in his hand over. His inventory, the energy cubes that were originally intended for the little top hat were all gone, and they all went into the salted fish king's belly. Fortunately, the agate jellyfish prefers to eat potato chips, so the energy cubes are not that important for the time being. The salted fish king wanted to continue turning around, but he could no longer turn his head. His head was too big and was stuck under the bed, and he couldn't even turn around. Fortunately, the salted fish king changed direction, turned around, turned in the opposite direction, and looked at Hong Kong first. Hong Kong touched his Mo and shook his head. Xiao Mo is now in the stage of evolution and transformation and needs enough energy cubes to replenish it. He has given all he can. The salted fish king pitifully looked at 403's last hope. The boss who contributed the most energy cubes. Wenren Fang Chen. How about I borrow it from Wenren Yunhai? I'll go find the instructor first. Yang Yu sighed. He watched helplessly as Wenren Yunhai took out at least 10 good quality energy cubes and no less than 20 ordinary energy cubes. In the end, the salted fish king still seemed to explode. Stuffing it into his mouth like rice crackers. It's like eating Suan Mei chewing gum. Simply cannot stop. Yang Yu patted the salted fish king's belly and asked him to change from a horizontal position to an upright position, which would at least allow Yang Yu to walk out. The length of the middle aisle between the two beds of salted fish king is at least about 1.5 meters. As for the current fatness of salted fish king, it is the height of lying flat on the ground. Anyway, there is no room for such a salted fish in the suitcase. Instructor Rainbow Snake even wanted to laugh when he heard that Yang Yu wanted to apply for a military credit loan, but when he heard that Yang Yu's salted fish king had grown in size again and was in urgent need of energy cubes, the smile on his face froze. Damn it, can it still get bigger? The Rainbow Snake instructor sprinted almost at a speed of 100 meters towards the boys' dormitory of the Sharp Snake camp. As expected, he saw a salted fish king that could be said to have reached the level of life-size pillow lying flat on the ground. Obstructing public transportation. 1 2 3 4. The Rainbow Snake instructor first counted out 10 good quality energy cubes and placed them in front of the salted fish king. Unexpectedly, the salted fish king stuffed them all into his mouth with his beard. His eyes were bright and bright, as if he saw another big player. The salted fish king stared with eyes as big as copper bells, and the rainbow snake instructor stared with big eyes and small eyes. The scene was very awkward for a time. The rainbow snake instructor was stunned. Swamp monsters are eaten piece by piece. Why the hell do you think these energy cubes are jelly beans when you eat them by the handful? The salted fish king poked the rainbow snake instructor's trouser leg with his beard and pointed at his mouth. Well, keep going. I still want to eat. When Yang Yu saw the action of the salted fish king, he felt dizzy and his legs began to tremble. Fortunately, after the salted fish king ate another 7 or 8 energy cubes, his two catfish-like beards no longer asked for energy cubes. Instead, they stroked his round belly comfortably and burped comfortably. Kaloo. Satisfied. Instructor Rainbow Snake thinks that he has seen a lot of the world, and has gained more and more understanding of the magic of the elf world in this military camp, but today, there is still an inexplicable funny. But, he didn't dare to underestimate it. Any Magikarp has the possibility of evolving into Gyarados, but this may be too small. But if there is such a possibility, how terrifying will it be for this Magikarp who can already hinder the order of public places to evolve, scenes. That Gyarados. In an instant, the rainbow snake instructor figured out something, and looked at Yang Yu with a smile on his face that became even more cordial. If it weren't for his status as a college student at Elf University, the rainbow snake instructor would want to rob people right now. Must report to the group leader. But now, the rainbow snake instructor still needs to issue an order. In the next few days, you are not allowed to summon your Magikarp in the dormitory. This elf is too big and will affect the order of public places. Yang Yu, Gao Mao and the others. When the salted fish king saw the instructor leaving, he stretched out his beard and waved it in a friendly manner, as if to say goodbye. Suddenly, a salty glare. I don't want it, I don't want the elf ball back. Ah! I have a saying that I must say when I sell batches. Yang Yu thought of the arrears of nearly 4,000 military points and the help from his roommates. I have to pay you back later, Wenren Fang Chen. Gao Mao and Hong Kong's energy cubes were okay, but Yang Yu owed the most to Wenren Fang Chen. It's okay, we're all roommates. Big brother. Yang Yu now wished he could go up and hug his thigh. The path of a trainer is so difficult. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 102. Yang Yu began his own debt repayment journey. Daily anti-stress training is now no longer a problem for the salted fish king. After another round of weight gain, he was now as stable as an old dog under the swamp monster's water cannon moves. If he returns to Ocean Park to train under Xiaobai, King Salted Fish will be confident. In the water, you are invincible. Of course, you can't be attacked by electric-type moves. The Salted Fish King will never forget one day during training. When the leader was inspecting the training, he summoned his Laikaiu to come to the pool of the Nanshan Arena and gently discharged the electricity. The Salted Fish King clicked, and couldn't get up. Many water-type elves fell into slight paralysis, but the Salty Fish King's own hidden characteristic of regeneration quickly returned him to normal. However, this also made him a little afraid of electric-type moves. The braised Salted Fish King is not scary at all, but the electric roasted Salted Fish King is scary. Everyone, come here and get ready to gather. The Rainbow Snake instructor blew his whistle, raised his fists, and prepared to assemble. Military training has gone through for 29 days. For the freshmen of the University of Electronic Science and Technology of China, tomorrow is the day to leave the military camp. Since the freshmen of Hangzhou University arrived a few days late, the joint military training is still going on, so the singing competition between the two universities will also be held on the same day. Daily military training, the elves, trains physical fitness, pressure resistance, and skill proficiency, while the freshmen train physical fitness, will, bond with the elves, and collective sense of honor. After nearly a month of training, I have gradually begun to accept the military training from my initial resistance. Now, I may even be a little reluctant to give up. What Yang Yu is most reluctant to leave is that the military training is about to end. After paying off the debts on hand, there are still scattered military points that have not been exchanged for other things. Tonight's singing competition, you must prepare your elves. This time singing is not only your personal honor, but also represents our snake camp. All of you must show your all. Use your voice and momentum to defeat those ordinary companies. Defeat the ordinary company. Defeat the ordinary company. Okay, I'm very motivated. Now, let me explain to you the precautions for the singing competition. This may be more or less related to your elf. Instructor Rainbow Snake put his hands on his hips and scanned the entire audience. Singing competition, number 1, pay attention to personal and elf safety, this is the top priority. No elf is allowed to use moves, especially, I know some people's elf can make noise, or say it's a metallic sound. This is absolutely prohibited in the competition. This is cheating. Yang Yu rolled his eyes. He had already felt many pairs of eyes. Didn't this noise refer to his salted fish king? Some grumpy elves, because singing competitions are relatively noisy, can easily cause elves such as fiery monkeys to go berserk, and even make some elves spit fire when excited. You have to pay attention to this. Then, this one is okay. Our company doesn't have this kind of situation. Stinky flowers, stinky mud, etc., etc., don't release these little elves with AoE stench. They will affect the company. This environment still has style. Ha 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 ha. Stinky mud, stinky flowers, ha ha ha, if this were released, wouldn't it stink to the sky? When Yang Yu heard stinky flower, he even felt a little nostalgic. He didn't know if the previous trainer who had a walking grass elf had evolved into a stinky flower. The stench is not something ordinary people can bear. Also, as for the fourth point, Jigglypuff is strictly prohibited from touching the microphone. That, Jigglypuff, is talking about you. What do you want to do now? Instructor Rainbow Snake's voice suddenly became louder, frightening Lin Qian. Many people jumped. In an instant, everyone looked in the direction of Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff's hand that was trying to find the microphone froze immediately, and his eyes were like those of an elf who had discovered an attempted crime. Bully. Jigglypuff quickly took his hands back from his bag, looked left and right as if he didn't know anything, and whistled a little. What are you looking at me for? I am just a white and flawless little chubby guy from deep mountains and old forests. The things to note in the singing competition are indeed interesting and tight. Yang Yu looked at the nervous look on the Rainbow Snake instructor's face. He guessed that after being tricked by Jigglypuff singing last time, he was always cautious to avoid overturning. Yang Yu even had some suspicions that the warning about not allowing Fatty to approach the microphone was added by the Rainbow Snake instructor himself. Everyone has had enough dinner. Don't yell at others when the time comes. I don't want to be embarrassed. Do you understand? I understand. Okay, disband. The military training will end tomorrow. Yeah, it's so fast, I'm really reluctant to let go. Yang Yu turned over the card with military merit points in his hand, looking quite nostalgic. Are you reluctant to give up the military points you haven't replaced? Don't tell me if you see through it. Oh, Yang Yu gave Hong Kong next to him a look to understand for himself. Yang Yu gained a lot from this military training. Although the Salted Fish King still had not evolved, he had a feeling that he was still missing the finishing touch, that is, that layer of window paper. When the window paper was pierced, everything would be over. Everything will fall into place. Hong Kong's Mohaima is no longer the Mohaima who just joined the camp, but a sea thorn dragon that already has the appearance of a dragon. The daily stress training helps Mohaima transform little by little, from being a downfall from the thorn to the dragon's horn, from the cylindrical and strong nose to the shape of some spikes, and finally to the evolution of the shape of the body and trunk. This was the first time Yang Yu saw the evolution of the elf. "My Squirtle is almost here," Wenren Fangchen took a deep breath. He was not in any hurry about Squirtle's evolution. "Now that we have come to the University of Electronic Science and Technology of China instead of Hangzhou University, let's make Squirtle's foundation more solid." Gao Mao has a very good attitude. He tells Little Top Hat every day, "When can I turn into a bigger hat?" Yang Yu and others gathered together while talking and laughing, and then after everyone stood at attention, they neatly arrived at their own place on the playground. Unity is strength, unity is strength. The east wind blows, the war drums beat, and I want to sing, no one is afraid of whom. The instructors smiled and coached the freshmen who were about to compete in the singing competition. Behind the smile is the farewell that is coming tomorrow or in a few days. Yang Yu was also very touched in his heart. More or less emotions were soon submerged in the mighty singing competition. "Let's go get the girls' team." "Ha ha ha, Instructor Rainbow Snake, how could you do this? Where does this stink come from? Who the hell released the smelly flowers?" Report to the instructor, "I accidentally dropped the elf ball on the ground when I stood up in excitement." "Whose Jigglypuff is running on the stage, stop it quickly." Thanks to Book Friends 2018, 500 coins, naming Invisible, Blue Fat Man raising his paw, and Thundeer -100 coins for supporting fish farming. Thank you all trainers for your recommendation votes. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 103. Came back. Yang Yu opened the door of dormitory 403, and a smell like opening a dusty dormitory came to his face. Military training is over. Yang Yu threw away the things on his hands and lay down on the bed in a daze. Everyone said that military training will make people lose a lot of weight, but Yang Yu didn't think so. All he lost was his wallet. As for the weight, not only did he not lose weight, he might even gain weight because of his big head. Kami Kami. It was almost the same as when school started. Squirtle helped Wenren Fangchen make the bed. However, this morning, Squirtle caught the last tale of military training and evolved into a Kami turtle. Although Yang Yu was envious in his heart, he also knew that evolution was related to the future prospects and development of the elf. This was something that could not be rushed. Thinking of his performance during military training, Yang Yu was actually quite satisfied. It's just so delicious. Classmate, this is your freshman ranking list for dormitory 403. Auntie put it on the table. The dormitory aunt knocked on the door and came in. After placing a list, she walked towards the next dormitory. The ranking battle after the military training for freshmen is about to begin. The 4 people who had just laid down to rest immediately sat up in surprise. So fast. It starts at 5 p.m. today and will last until 9 p.m. It will be played at many venues in the school at the same time. Look where we're playing. As for us, Hong Kong, you are in the swimming pool. Yang Yu, I, and Wenren Fangchen are all in the gymnasium. Gao Mao took a look and said in surprise, "By the way, your opponent is also a water elf." Yang Yu glanced at the match list. This was only the first round of the match. His opponent was Zhang Hongliang from the School of Science, and the elf was Ratuta. It seems that Lao Wen has better luck. His opponent is Xiao Quanxi. Alas, this poor kid is going to be killed by Kami Turtle. Gao Mao glanced at the 2 words Lutong on the battle table with pity. Word. There is no doubt that this little brother is really unlucky. That's not right, Lao Wen, your elf shown on this form is still Squirtle, haha, Hong Kong, yours is the same, the form shown on the form is still Mo Haima, won't your opponent be crying by then, Gao Mao laughed. The two big guys are pretending to be pigs and eating tigers, Yang Yu said with a smile, Gao Mao, your opponent is Xiao Yat. Is it difficult? Just let my little top hat tie it up and kill it. Besides, the agate jellyfish has poison as well as water type, so it won't be afraid of grass type moves. Gao Mao thought his idea was good. Hong Kong, Gao Mao's match starts first, why don't you come with us to the gym to watch him play, Yang Yu said. Okay, change your clothes first, take a shower, then go to eat, and then go to the stadium to watch the game. After eating, Hong Kong happily accepted. The return of the freshmen made the whole school become more lively. Everyone knows that the freshmen have just finished their military training in the past few days and there will be a qualifying match to play. This is a match that determines the ranking of the freshmen. It is also a freshman battle match held in elf universities across the country. In addition to freshmen, some seniors will also come to various venues to watch the battles. Perhaps they want to recall their own immature battle experiences. Of course, they may also want to see if there are any handsome juniors or beautiful juniors. The most important thing is to get to know some powerful new trainers. All elf universities across the country will provide high-quality training resources for these talented and powerful trainers. In the future National Elf University College Student Elite Challenge, these trainers will be needed to obtain better rankings and obtain the rewards from the Elf Alliance. Resource Awards. Hangzhou University has the largest wild elf secret land in Hangzhou, with forests, wetlands, and ocean areas, and has the best wild elf resources. However, the University of Electronic Science and Technology of China, due to its poor ranking in the College Student Elite Challenge, was assigned there is only a small part of the elven secret realm. Freshmen are the fresh blood in the university, and the talented trainers among them are the cornerstone of the university in the future. For the top-ranked students among the freshmen, the school will not be stingy in the training resources provided. The top 500 will receive a scholarship of nearly 2,000 elf coins, the first place will receive a scholarship of 100,000. Yang Yu, can you wipe off your saliva? Oh. Yang Yu is all excited now. 2,000 elf coins, is quite a lot. If he can get among the top few, his financial deficit can disappear immediately. If we were in Hangzhou, the reward for first place might be 300,000 elf coins. Wenren Fangchen shook his head. This is the gap between elf universities. 300,000. Yang Yu couldn't help but gasp after hearing this. However, he would definitely not be able to eat the 300,000, so he should keep his eyes on the meat in his bowl. I don't want to run into you in the first few rounds, Yang Yu, Hong Kong said pitifully, your Carp King, Mad, is simply the nemesis of the water elf. Wenren Fangchen and Gao Mao also nodded repeatedly after hearing this. I heard Fangchen sigh, let us poor water elf trainers go. Who says it's not? Yang Yu's salted fish king shone so brightly during the 30 days of military training that many freshmen in the Lish camp began to doubt their lives. Damn, is this the salted fish king I met before? This is so damn cruel. Especially for water elves? If water type moves are used, Swampert's water cannons can't do anything to the salty fish king, let alone Camille and Squirtle. Moves like the water gun can only give the salty fish king a cold shower. If not a water gun, what would you use? Impact. Don't make trouble, which elf would hit this fat and hard salted fish king like a stupid young man? Have you seen the rainbow snake instructor's doodle? Just don't knock yourself out. I hope I won't meet an electric elf, Yang Yu could only pray like this. The gymnasium was buzzing with activity. The freshman ranking battle is in full swing, with cheers, exclamations, cheers and cheers coming one after another. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Quack, quack, quack. Ho, ho, ho. Suddenly, a burst of wild and even devilish laughter came from the extremely lively gymnasium. I tie you, you tie me, I continue to tie you, you continue to tie me. Ha ha ha, I'm laughing my head off. How can we decide the outcome? 666. Aren't you kidding me with this humming game? Yang Yu, Wenren Fang Chen and Hong Kong had very strange expressions on their faces. They couldn't hold back their laughter anymore, and they started to laugh like pigs when they trembled. Little Top Hat, come on, rap the trumpet bud hard for me. Trumpet bud, must not be loosened, tied up, tied to death of the agate jellyfish. On both sides of the playing field, two people gnashing their teeth looked at each other with ferocious expressions. Jo Mao's first battle, Onyx Jellyfish vs Trumpet Bud. The little top hat started the Hot Wheels bundle mode without saying anything. Even if there was no water on the field, the agate jellyfish could still fly up. Trumpet Bud uses a vine whip to hit the agate jellyfish from a distance. However, the speed of this Hot Wheel cannot be blocked. Little Top Hat directly approaches Trumpet Bud and uses the move, bind. It doesn't matter if it's not tied up. Once tied up, Trumpet Yat also used binding. Now the two elves tied me and I tied you. One used a belt and the other used his own vine. They hugged each other tightly, even on the ground. Rolling around. If it weren't for the ferocious expressions on the faces of the two trainers. Are you rolling on the floor to show your affection? Stop. Even if the referee blew his whistle, he could not stop the two elves from bonding and communicating beyond race. The final decision of victory or defeat. Onyx Jellyfish, win. Don't ask why, because the agate jellyfish is on top. Humph, Gao Mao curled his nose and raised his eyebrows at the trainer opposite. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. 666, 666. It was an eye-opener for Yang Yu and the others. Loki, Loki. Gao Mao waved his hand, feeling quite happy that he won the first battle. The next battle is Wenren Fang Chen, there are still a few more groups, let's wait. At this time, the elf on the battlefield was still being beaten back and forth. It looked thrilling. Even if he fell, he still continued to get up and fight. It's Fang Chen's turn. Wenren Fang Chen's appearance on the stage immediately attracted the attention of many people. He has a relatively good appearance, coupled with a relatively indifferent expression and a shallow smile, and more importantly. Go ahead, Cammy Turtle. This, how can this be a Cammy Turtle? Both the opponent and the referee were stunned for a moment, and suddenly the audience burst into warm applause and cheers, and even some girls screamed crazily. Before entering school, Wenren Fangchen's elf information was still Squirtle, but now, the elf appearing on the stage is Cammy Turtle. There is only one explanation for this. During the military training process, I evolved. Cammy Turtle, water gun. The game is over. Just like imagined, one move. Wenren Fangchen took back the turtle and left the stage calmly. Ah 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 ah. So hot. Cammy Turtle. Cammy Turtle. Cammy Turtle. Similarly, Yang Yu and the other two people under the stage still shouted 666. A lot of girls are looking at you, ah, I'm so envious. Hong Kong leaned next to Wenren Fangchen, and even raised his eyebrows in response to the looks of several girls. Unfortunately, the girls' responses were all looks of disgust. It's Yang Yu's turn soon. Wenren Fangchen felt no pride at all, as if he had just won an insignificant game. Because he knows that if the opponent is the three people around him, he may not win. The strongest has its own strong hand. The next game will be between Yang Yu from the Community College and Zhang Hongliang from the College of Science. I have already foreseen how Yang Yu won this game. Gao Mao looked at the new trainer who was walking on the stage opposite, with some compassion on his face. How to win, Hong Kong said with a smile. Go, Salted Fish King. Ratata, fight. When one appears on the field, no. According to the current body shape, I would probably describe it as one head. A Salted Fish King. Little Rata was dumbfounded. The opponent was confused. The whole place suddenly fell into silence. Is this the Magi Carp blocking the bridge in the snake camp? Oh my god! How can it be so big? The Salted Fish King twisted his body in discomfort. The ground was a little dirty, and there were leaves. The Salted Fish King stared at the leaf not far from his mouth and blew a breath. Puff! The leaves flowed away. Hey, little Ratata, what's wrong with you? Little Lotta felt that her legs were shaking a little. With how big she was, and how big the Salted Fish King was in front of her, even a single breath could blow it away like the leaves that were floating in front of her just now. Rat. Impact. Zhang Hongliang decided to strike first. Squeak. Little Lotta gritted his teeth, twitched his whiskers, and ran towards the direction of the Salted Fish King with sharp eyes. In Zhang Hongliang's eyes, the Carp King who is not in the water, no matter how big he is, can do nothing but get beaten. Bang! The Salted Fish King turned slightly so that his belly was pointed at Little Rata. He only felt a poke somewhere in his belly, and then turned around again. Little brother, what's wrong with you, little brother? The Salted Fish King came up to take a look at the dazed Little Rata lying on the ground, and poked Little Rata's belly with a beard. Carp King, win. Asking for votes every day. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 105. The freshman qualifying competition is about to begin. The combat power list continues to be updated. Who is the strongest freshman? The Elf Charm List and Campus Gorgeous Contest are about to start a new event. The University of Electronic Science and Technology of China has put up large and small banners. Even in the sky, you can see many flying elves hanging banners, going to every corner of the school to promote it. This is the most lively event since the beginning of school. Lao Wen, it's okay. Your combat power is rank 7th. It's amazing. Is this a strength ranking or a beauty ranking? Why do I feel like it's about who is handsome? Gao Mao threw his phone away angrily. He scanned the QR code and entered his student ID to query. A ranking of 4,000 plus popped up directly. Don't be angry, don't be angry. Yang Yu and others comforted him repeatedly. At least I won a game, Gao Mao began to feel aggrieved for himself. This combat power list is not official. It should be made by the students themselves. But let's not say that there is a popularity value behind this combat power. This thing is so annoying. Yang Yu looked at the thousands of others' popularity, and then look at the fact that his popularity is only in double digits. Mater, it is so annoying to compare people to others. You can also vote for yourself to increase your popularity. What can you do by increasing your popularity? Popularity cannot determine combat power, Yang Yu said this, but he still voted for himself honestly. However, it was of no use. There are still a few strong opponents. The freshmen who entered the snake camp before cannot be underestimated, Wen Ren Fangchen said calmly. Fight all the way and see you in the finals, Yang Yu said with a smile. 1, 2, 3, come on. The four people formed a circle and put their hands on each other's backs, still laughing and confident. After 3 rounds of competition, more than 500 trainers stood out from the 4,000 plus freshmen in the school, and 4 out of 403 qualified for the 4th round. The 2 opponents Yang Yu encountered behind him were not very strong. He couldn't resist the urge to defeat King Carp and directly ordered the elf to attack King Carp. You use your tricks and I blow my wind. Especially the opponent he met in the 3rd round. The elf was a bobo, and the fierce wind was blowing. The salted fish king had no fluctuations in his heart. He even wanted to hold his forehead with his beard, as if he was a giant. It's like giving salted fish king a refreshing drink on a hot day, it's so refreshing. In the end, the game seemed to end when Bobo was too tired to continue using his moves. From the beginning to the end of the game, Salted Fish King won without using a single move. Salty Fish King said that it was very comfortable to wash, cut, and blow dry, and he would come again next time. After these 3 rounds of competition, Yang Yu's Salted Fish King shines after all. It can't be helped, and the victory is inexplicable. After the Salted Fish King comes on stage. Why don't you stop moving? That's not right, you still have to move, that is, change your position and scratch your belly or something, and then let the elf on the opposite side come on and move on his own. Immovable as a Salted Fish King. Can you be serious? This is a battle between elves? How can you lie on the ground and be lazy? Can you jump a little to show that you can splash? However, the Salted Fish King just turned over. The game is over. The 4th round, the 100th game, Yang Yu from Community College vs Lin Kai from School of Economics. Lin Kai, the little elf ghost, the known moves so far are tongue licking, night shadow, hypnosis, and strange light. An elf with disgusting moves? It's hard to fight the Carp King now. Come on Lin Kai. Defeat this Magi Carp. On the battlefield, a strange purple-black light floated in the air. Suddenly, those evil eyes opened, and the malicious smile on the corner of his mouth seemed to be preparing to do something again. Ghost. This was the first time Yang Yu saw ghost elves in the elf world. The group of elves floating in the air like will-o'-the-wisps touched Yang Yu's nerves. Lin Kai, ranked 19th on the combat power list, the elf Gai Sai is good at using hypnosis, and the characteristics of the ghost system, Yang Yu is not going to win this game. Hong Kong looked a little serious. Salted Fish King, I hope you won't be affected by those disgusting status skills. Lin Kai's previous 3 games were all won by using status skills to torture the opponent's elf, Gao Mao immediately added. Come on. Wenren Fang Chen clenched his fists. Yang Yu carefully looked at Gai Sai on the training ground. His body seemed to be burning with purple light and exuded a strange and gloomy aura. However, he must admit that his opponent was very strong. In the game of the previous life, when capturing ghosts in the ghost tower of Ziwan Town, Yang Yu was very disgusted by all kinds of messy skills, so Yang Yu would not take it lightly. The salted fish thrust is useless, so all that's left is noise. Although noise is also a general attribute move, Gai Sai doesn't have the property of soundproofing. Yang Yu was ready. Ghost, strange light. Lin Kai issued the attack order. Ghost's body exudes circles of strange light, attacking towards the Salted Fish King. The strange light can cause confusion among the elves. The effect of chaos is that they attack themselves. The stronger the opponent's elves are, the more chaos they will bring. The threat is also greater. The Salted Fish King couldn't dodge this move. This is not a swimming pool. Great, the effect has taken effect. Lin Kai clenched his fists. In the previous 3 games, there was no point in torturing those weak elves. Only if he could defeat this Carp King would he feel satisfied. The Salted Fish King fell into chaos. The Salted Fish King used it on himself. Beard tickle. This side, it's so itchy here, it's so itchy here too. The Salted Fish King rolled on the field. He rolled over and grabbed all over his body with his beard. Lin Kai. Yang Yu. Why is this Salted Fish King so stupid? Yang Yu turned around silently, the picture was too beautiful to look at. Lin Kai suddenly remembered something. Due to the limitations of the venue, the Salted Fish King can only jump and roll on the ground, which cannot hurt him at all. I'm sorry, Lin Kai cursed secretly. The effect of using strange light to let Xiao Quanqi knock him off the field by himself has no effect on the Salted Fish King. This is probably why the Salted Fish King is a salted fish. It's so hard to beat yourself up. Gaisai, the dark shadow of the night. The Salted Fish King rolling around on the field has no pattern at all. Miss. Miss. Miss again. The night demon has failed. Salted Fish King, I was wrong. Please stop, please. I will never use strange light on you again. Lin Kai had countless things to say in his heart. How could he trick himself with this trick? He used a strange light to allow King Xianyu to escape from the shadow of the night demon 3 times. Damn it, if he didn't use this strange light, Xianyu would have been able to trick him. How nice it would be for the King of Fish to stop where he is and act as a target. Lin Kai felt that he was about to become chaotic. Finally, the chaos effect of Salted Fish King is over. My head feels a bit dizzy. The Salted Fish King blinked and stretched out his 2 beards to express strong protest. I am angry. Ghost, hypnotism, Lin Kai couldn't bear it anymore. This game must end as soon as possible. King Salted Fish, don't look into Gaisai's eyes, Yang Yu said immediately. Gaisai slowly closed his eyes, and when he opened them again, there seemed to be circles of hypnotic gaze slowly heading towards the Salted Fish King. The Salted Fish King stared at Gaisai motionless with his slanted eyes, even a little puzzled. What is this little guy looking at me for? What's there to see? Suddenly, for some reason, Gaisai's focused gaze dispersed, and then he looked into the eyes of the Salted Fish King. The use of hypnotism failed. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. The scene was awkward for a while. The audience at the scene had no idea what was going on. Why was Ghost looking at a Magi carp? Have you looked at each other for so long? This is the first time Gaisai has seen such happy eyes. This is a pair of crooked eyes. The left eyeball is tilted to the left, and the right eyeball is tilted to the right. Funny, funny. Ha 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 ha. Gaisai suddenly couldn't help laughing, his faint voice trembling from time to time, like a call coming from the cemetery. Salted Fish King, Mater, mentally retarded. The Salted Fish King's slanted eyes suddenly stood up. A roar like a noise came from his mouth. Roll. At this moment, Gaisai's laughter stopped suddenly, as if he saw an infinite terror. On the face of the Salted Fish King, the pair of crooked and funny eyes were no longer there, but instead there was a sharp as a knife edge. A terrifying look that could eat it in one bite. Coupled with the pressure-filled and intimidating noise, the aura rising from the Salted Fish King. Gaisai screamed in horror and fled out of the venue at an incredible speed. He hid behind Lin Kai at lightning speed and trembled with one eye exposed as he looked at the Salted Fish King lying on the ground. Ghost. It just saw a ghost. Why did you escape so quickly? The Salted Fish King blinked. He had just started and he hadn't used all his strength yet. Don't run away, little brother. At least I have to let you see the salted fish. The majesty of the king is inviolable. Yang Yu rubbed his eyes. What did he just see? Why does it feel like seeing a purple black egg? The black egg in the core escapes first, and then the purple egg behind can react and run away. This ghost was so frightened that he separated from his body. King Carp, win. The referee was stunned for a moment before he remembered his duty and decided the result of the game. Lin Kai didn't even realize what happened on the field, so why did he lose? He looked back at Gaisai who was still shivering behind him. He wanted to be angry, but he couldn't. Congratulations. Awesome, Yang Yu, advanced. Gao Mao and Hong Kong didn't care how the Salted Fish King won, as long as they won anyway. On the other hand, Fang Chen was a little thoughtful when he heard about it. This reminded him of that scene during military training. When Swamp Monster used the water cannon, he inexplicably took a small step back. This detail at that time. When Renfang Chen saw it? What did Swampert see at that time, and what made him take such a step back? What did Gaisai see this time, and he was so frightened that he ran away? Lao Wen, let's go. Your competition today is at the swimming pool. Don't be late, Yang Yu said with a smile. Wenren Fang Chen nodded, burying this doubt in his heart. Thank you all trainers for your recommendation votes. I will add more votes for your recommendation later. Please vote every day. Thanks for your support.